Hello and welcome to Longo Drive's Tread Talks. This is Mike and
I'm Mel.
Mel, I'm super excited about today.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about?
Today is one of my favorite topics. Okay?
Let me guess.
What's it?
Service.
Yes, service. And I love service. The reason I love service so much is because it is arguably one of the most controversial areas of a dealership. And since our role here is to give you some behind the scenes stuff, it literally is something that what I have found, like in friends, family, guests, is that it's so polarized. 50% of the population will not bring their car into service, and then 50% are true diehard believers that they should only do it in service. And I've scolded so many family members. I have had so many conversations, kind of a coming to Jesus meetings with them, like, what are you doing? Like, for real? Like, am I really having this conversation with you?
And this happens to everyone.
Happens to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I look at them and I say, if you needed brain surgery, would you go see the chiropractor? No, right?
Wait, why brain surgery?
Well, that's just a good example.
Okay.
Like it's very specialized, right? You have to have something. So, again, one of my favorite topics, super highly controversial. There's a lot of stuff out there on the web. There's a lot of stuff on social media that goes good or bad or indifferent about it.
Yeah.
But lucky for us, what we have is a subject matter expert with us today. You ready?
We do, yes.
Yeah, we do. His name is Paul LeBlanc. He has been with Longo Toyota for 21 years. He does, in his department, the team does 360 cars a day on average. That means, to the folks listening, 360 cars on average arrive at the dealership in the morning, to the mid-morning, to the afternoon. They get serviced, turned around, and most of those leave by the end of the day. Some of them don't because it takes longer to get them done. But that's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility. So he's got a lot of babysitting to do, and he's got a lot of cars to worry about. So without further ado, Paul, welcome to Longo Drives. We're super excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here as well. So thanks for having me. I'm glad to see that we're doing this on fixed ops, which is also known as service. So I like to think that I run the busiest department in the dealership, that kind of the most that goes on, and arguably it's one of the most important aspects of the business as well. So it's good to be here, and I'm happy to share kind of a little insight into our day and what we do on the normal and how we assist our guests with reliable vehicles.
I'm going to change things up a little bit, Mel. You ready?
Okay.
I'm going to have you look at this Carfax report, and I'm actually springing this on you. Okay, I want you to flip to the second page and tell me. Third page, check that out. And this is important for Paul too, because this is super important. First circle you see, what was the mileage when this car was sold?
So on this Carfax, this car was sold at, it was first sold at 10 miles.
At 10 miles.
Yeah.
When was the first service done?
This first service was done not even a year later. That was weird.
How many miles?
With
22,000 miles. Okay.
That is crazy. 22,000 miles.
Now, and what was the name of the entity that did the service?
Spiffy.
Get Spiffy. Mr. LeBlanc, what do you think about Get Spiffy?
I can't say that I've ever heard of them.
You've never heard of them? Okay.
Sounds more like a car wash. than
Exactly.
a service facility.
And then the next page, Mel, what do we have?
And then we have, May 2023. There's 63,000 miles on this car now, and it's sold.
And it's sold. So it wasn't even serviced.
No.
So after that, there's about 10,000 miles and it gets serviced again. And I think what I would want to tell people this is when you are buying a new car and you're going to service the car with Paul, hopefully, with us at Longo Toyota, is that these are the transcripts to your car. We're talking about like you wouldn't go to college and give them a different name and not have transcripts that were in your name, right? Like you want your car to have a record of everything that's ever happened to it because it increases the value of the car. Paul, your thoughts on this when you think about seeing something like this? What are your thoughts?
I think it's so ambiguous that you really don't know what's happened. It's cloudy. I mean, you bought a car, a year later, 22,000 miles, you get one visit, and then you're just guessing for the next 40,000 miles until it was sold. So you really just don't know. I mean, was this car serviced and they weren't sharing that? Was it done by the owner themselves in their driveway possibly? I mean, maybe. Or was it just something that they didn't service it at all and this car went 2-3 years with getting one service until it was resold? So I think the biggest thing, if you're looking at that Carfax, as far as should I purchase this vehicle, it's something that you don't feel good about it. I'm looking at that and I'm
Yeah,
not
like
sure
something's
if this
missing,
is,
right?
well, maybe, right? Is it a good buy or is it not? But I think something's missing, because if it's not there in the Carfax, then that's one thing we do. We share everything on Carfax. So it's transparent, at least if our service department is doing it, versus this, you're unsure.
You're unsure, yeah.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting.
I think one of the things that people really miss the boat on is the fact that when you buy a new car, it comes with, what does it come with, Mel? What do we have?
Well, for Toyota, we come with ToyotaCare.
Yeah, Toyota carries 2 years, 25,000 miles worth of services, right? So most cars, we're gonna get 5 services out of that. Some cars have a different interval, 7,500 or 10,000 miles per interval. But why would you not do the free service? That blows my mind. Like, why wouldn't so in your opinion, Paul, why are people not bringing them in for service?
I think there's a couple things, and it is wild. I agree, Mike. It's wild to me that somebody wouldn't bring their car here for servicing. I would say, one, people do not understand that they have it. Maybe they don't understand what it includes, which is really important. Two, there could be a distance challenge where maybe you believe, hey, it's a little too far, to get here. Some traffic is a factor for us
Sure.
here in the LA, area. And the other one is, you might just feel like you could do it yourself. Maybe you think that you don't need the dealership's help, which always blows me away, because we're the trained people on it. We're the professionals that just have the right parts and the right techs to help do it. I think the last thing probably is it's free. So
Yeah.
I mean, I like my money, so I'm not sure why people choose to spend more money to do it themselves or with somebody else when it's included in the purchase.
I've talked to a few guests and also a few of my friends too. And when they've bought their Toyota, they actually didn't know that they had their ToyotaCare. And the ones that did, they actually thought that they had to go back to the dealership that they bought it at, which might have been far. And I'm like, oh no, you can go anywhere. You can go to any Toyota dealership, then they'll honor it, right?
Yep, yeah, that's a good point, and we do hear that. I believe we do it better than anybody. So I would love for you to come here, but absolutely, any dealer nationwide, you could redeem your ToyotaCare maintenances, and
There you go.
it's a home run.
So there's a public service announcement right there, the first one on the podcast. ToyotaCare, 2-year, 25,000. You could do it at any Toyota dealership. And more importantly, like Paul said, it's free. Like, why would you not do it? Now, I'm going to add a little tidbit to that, because obviously distance plays a part in it, scheduling, timing, and so forth. But one of the things that I hear from my friends is that, sure, it's a free service, but as soon as I get there, you're going to try to upsell me on something that I don't necessarily need. The car's brand new. So I think that that's the fear. It's like, if I go back to the dealership for the 10K and it's a free 10K, what are you going to come back and hit me with? And I think that's a legitimate concern, because that does happen out
that
there.
is true.
What do we do to get around that perception from the public?
Well, I mean, at 10,000 miles, there's nothing. There's nothing additional, right? I mean, we follow the scheduled maintenance guide with Toyota Motor Sales. You do get the included, maintenance services. So unless we find something on a multi-point inspection where, we found a nail in the tire or something of that nature, then there's really nothing to be concerned about. The other aspect on it is there's still a warranty on the vehicle. So if we do find something, then there's a very, very high probability that you'll be covered by the factory warranty.
Well, warranty aside, though, a lot of people also argue what is the difference between a dealership and any other shop. Just like you said, we follow the manual, whatever that needs to be done to the car, but that's a lot of shops too that they can do.
Yeah, I think a biggest factor on that is going to be, probably the first one, is factory trained technicians, right? So we have years of experience for our technicians in the training. Over 20 master diagnostic technicians. On those technicians, I mean, you have 9 ASE certifications to become a master diagnostic, technician. You got years of training, a plethora of e-modules. I mean, over 30 Toyota e-modules that you need, and then you've had numerous, Toyota training classes that you're in person for training.
Oh, so
So
it's not just anyone that can work on the cars. You have to go back to school, essentially.
it depends where you go, right? So that's always, one thing I think of is if you go to one of these independent repair facilities, who's working on your car? And the answer to me always is I'm unsure, right?
Right.
But here with us, I mean, we always have the right people that are capable to work on your car.
So the choice I have then as a consumer out there in the world is that I can go to an independent repair facility where the tech went to the YouTube University, or or I can come over to a Toyota dealership or Ford or Mercedes or whatever, where the service tech is trained by the factory with very specific information. Yesterday we were getting ready for the podcast and we pulled some of the certification course requirements, and it is like getting a doctorate. I mean, they have
Yeah, you're getting another
so
degree.
many. I sent you the PDF files, and I was just like, "Holy smokes!" Like, and we see them down here in Penske College because they come down to do their lab work, and they come down into the computer lab that we have next door, and they're just in there, just cranking away, going through different modules and different exercises. And that's who I want to trust, especially when I'm buying a $45, $50, $60,000 car. I don't want to take it to the guy that studied at YouTube University. Like, that doesn't
That they'll get
excite
it
me.
done in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
There you go.
no, please don't go do that. And this is why I scold so many of my friends and family members that do get a car with us. And I'm just like, they're like, yeah, probably not. I got an uncle that has a shop. And I'm like, no. you,
You immediately throw up.
I immediately throw up and I'm like, no. And that's my example of the brain surgery to the chiropractor where I just get so flubbed, like, no, guys, please listen to me. You don't want to have that done. But there's so much more to it than that, Paul, because every once in a while I'm CC'd on an email from headquarters. And it's letting us know that they have delivered a very specialized tool for us and that they've dinged our part statement. And I don't think that I'm misrepresenting anything there. What exactly is that? Why and why is that better for us than for the independent stores?
So you're referring to special service tools, and Toyota Motor Sales sends us those on a regular basis. Maybe a new model, or maybe there's some type of a new, I would call it an operation that you would do to a vehicle that requires a special tool. A really good one is going to be, the Toyota Supra. Although it's a low production car, it is a BMW, product. And those take tools that just regular places or facilities wouldn't have. I could say, easily we have $15,000 to $20,000 of special service tools just to take care of, Supra.
Isn't that ridiculous? And this is different for the folks out there listening. This is not going into the Snap-on trailer that just pulled into the back and going shopping because you want a really cool wrench, right?
Yeah.
It's like literally, and some of the invoices on this, I remember talking to Jose Uribe and going like, 18,000? Like, what does that thing do? And he's like, oh, Mike, da, 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 and he would explain it to me. So I think that that's really a big issue. But above and beyond that, so first of all, we're going to get special tools that have been developed specifically for the car. But second, do we share our software updates? Do we share any of our computer diagnostic tools with independents?
No, so we do not, and that's a good point here. Is there is an OBD2 port, connector that's universal where you plug into the computer on cars, and you could get some generic scan tools that will, read codes off of Amazon or the internet, or even you could find them. As far as the Toyota equipment, it is not shared. I mean, there's a $6,000 laptop that we use just to, plug in to get the right data to make sure that we're looking at the right stuff to identify those things. Yeah.
And if I buy the Amazon $29.99 tool that I can plug in that talks to my iPhone versus the Toyota computer, what is the biggest difference that I get to see from one to the other? Because obviously this is a podcast. People are going to read, they go, oh, I got the OBD tool, dude. I got the code.
They got
I
everything.
know what the code is, and I went into the forum. Like where is our advantage there? Because it's going to come up.
Yeah, so there's then a catalog that's behind that. So we have a Toyota, national service history and TIS, their technical information systems, and there's more availability of data on there than you'll find anywhere on the internet, right? This literally just happened to my brother-in-law, and I kind of lost my mind on it, which he has an older Tacoma, and he got a code that was pulled for a low catalyst efficiency. To his defense, he's hundreds of miles away, so
Right.
coming here wasn't an option. Otherwise, he wouldn't be my brother-in-law anymore. But he got this code pulled, and it's a low catalyst efficiency, and he ended up ordering a part himself because he Googled it, and that's the answer. Right, that's the answer he came up with. And then the light was still on. And it turns out he's, hey, I did this and I did this. I'm running this cleaner through and what. So he finally, gets a hold of me. And I think he changed the wrong side, the wrong bank. So then I got David Lee, one of our shop foremans, and he confirmed it. He says, yeah, that catalytic converter you bought was the wrong one. So, and it's not cheap. I mean, I think he still spent $300-$400 on a catalytic converter, and he just not only did he waste his time, but he wasted his money. So, yeah, it was wild.
And the interesting point there is the familiarity that our team members have to some of these vehicles, right? Because you're doing on average 360 cars. So our service techs are able to see the same problem occur over and over again, whereas an independent store, they get to see one of these cars every other month.
They'd have to spend like a whole day trying to figure it out.
Yeah, they have to do all this extra work to try to figure it out. I think that's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, that's it. That is a good point to make here. Is if you're just at a shop or a facility, you don't have the shared knowledge that we have as well. I mean, we have over 44 technicians in our main shop, our customer facing shop right now. So certified techs with Toyota. And if you just look at the knowledge and the years of experience that they have, I think that is overwhelming. So you have this just shared knowledge that you have, and then you have this database of resources that you could, access if you don't have the right answers. And one more point from there is, there's a Toyota technical support line. So if you did get stuck on something or you can't find the answer in literature, you're not familiar with it, then you have access to a network of Toyota really engineers and techs that you could talk to as well.
I think a flip side to that too is that how many service techs do you have back there, Paul?
So right now there's 44 technicians that are certified with Toyota Motor Sales as far as like expert level or higher. There's an expert, a master, and an MDT. I believe the latest number was 25 master diagnostic techs. And then every one of our maintenance technicians as well, they are Toyota certified in maintenance. So there's even a requirement just to do that ToyotaCare service you mentioned. You can't just come here and on day one and do it. I mean, there's modules and testings and some past kind of areas that you have to do to just handle that.
And there's a reaction from Mel and I on when you said 25 master, because for those folks out there that aren't as
That's
versed on terminology, master is like third degree black belt, right? Like
honestly, that's a good analogy.
because that's my analogy. Like, oh, I've got my yellow belt. Well, that's nice, but this guy's got a third degree black belt,
They're black belt,
and that's what they are. So we have 25 of them, and then we have all these others that are expert ranked, and then moving up the ranks. To the folks out there, for Longo Toyota, we are a small forum. Like when you go online and you get on a forum and you go, hey, my car's doing a weird buzzing noise. Have you guys experienced that? And then a bunch of people answer. We literally have a shop full of folks that can answer the question in a matter of seconds. And there's knowledge and power to that, because if one of your techs can't find it in the literature or doesn't want to make the phone call, he can just walk over to David Lee, Ryan Walton, one of those guys, and go, hey, guys, this is tripping me out. And then he'll get a small little army that goes with him, and they get over there and they do their thing. And then we have the solution for that. So I think that's just super duper impressive. I think it's neat that we had that.
That is really cool. But I think the question a lot of people also ask is that, why do they have to wait so long at the dealership? I mean, that question is on every service post that I've done. And it's crazy to see that. Unfortunately, it is true, but aside from all the technology and the knowledge that we have, people are still waiting a good amount of time. In their opinion, I could have just gone to one of those independent shops and did it in 30 minutes or something like that. Yeah.
That's a huge one for us. It's always a challenge, and we've been dealing with this in my 21 years that I've been here. Is people's time equates to money, and I know my time is valuable, and I try to respect everybody's time. The truth of it is right at 70% of our guests wait under 2 hours for maintenance. So we nail this thing the large majority of the time. Now, there is always some exceptions because we try to help everybody, and we will try to help some people on walk-in basis. And you'd be surprised the amount of people that are, planning a vacation, next week, but they wait until the morning of their vacation to come and get their car serviced. So we see some of that. We still try to help them. But absolutely, I mean, I think one of the quickest ways to get dissatisfaction with the guest and the dealer is to make them wait too long. Because again, my time's very valuable, and we always try to get this done as soon as possible on maintenance. I think the good news from there is we got some other tools that most places don't have where we could offset this. So if someone comes in and we know it's going to be a little bit longer, I mean, we could set somebody up with an Uber or Lyft ride. We run 5 shuttles here so we can get somebody home, or a alternative to that is even an enterprise rent-a-car. We got an enterprise rent-a-car facility on site. So if it is going to take a little longer, I mean, we definitely have some tools here that we could help, alleviate some of that wait for our guests and leave a better experience.
How big is our Uber bill at the end of the month? Do I even want to know? Is that scary?
At one point during COVID, the pandemic, I mean, we were spending $20,000 a month on transportation.
On transportation.
Just Uber.
Yeah,
We
so
need-
that was at a
do
high.
Uber and Lyft, or
We will. So we'll have a combination of the both. We tend to use more Lyft these days than Uber. It seems to be our preferred platform. Sometimes there's a little bit of a pricing discount maybe, but we got access to both.
Should we do a public service announcement for Uber drivers and tell them what day is a really big day of services so that they park close by at the CVS across the way, and wait for the call to come,
and make sure that they
and make sure they're ready at the ready.
you.
We're ready to go to Longo. I love it.
Yeah, and that is kind of the beauty of it here. I mean, we got literally a geo fence set up for Uber pickups and drop off. It's pretty easy. We send a link to guests, and you could track your ride with your app as well. So it makes it pretty seamless.
Yeah,
we have Starbucks here,
and we have Starbucks
that's
here.
always a plus.
I think that's one of the things that I would want to mention to folks is that when you are getting the cars serviced here at Longo Toyota, or let alone any one of your other OEMs or factory Toyotas places you're going to go to, most of the stores are really, really nice. And I have taken my car to be serviced at different times in my life. When I was in college,
I was to say, I was like,
I went to Econo Lubentune, and I remember sitting in a plastic chair in this weird, narrow waiting room, and there was a big TV, and I was like swatting the flies out of my face, and the TV was on, and I was watching like Golden Girls, right? I had no choice. And the cars were being served, my car was being serviced in the back, and it was hot. There was no air conditioning. It was uncomfortable. There was like 3-day-old donuts there for me if I wanted one of them. It was just fascinating, right? But you come to our facility, and we're air conditioned, we're clean, we're remodeled. We got Starbucks, we've got Subway, we've got Uber to take you home, we've got Toyota Sienna shuttles to move you back and forth.
Donuts in the morning.
In the morning.
I think cookies in the afternoon.
Yeah. And so, why wouldn't you want to come somewhere where we have free Wi-Fi and air conditioning, and we're gonna, if the car wash isn't broken, we're gonna wash your car.
That's a touchy subject.
We're gonna talk about that in just a second. But I think it's so strange to me that people, because they think they're saving $1, like let's remind you, the first 5 services are free, and you get to stay in a beautiful environment and have the amenities that you need. And it's just such an important thing to me. Like, why wouldn't you want that for yourself? Like, that's just important, a part of it. But we touched a little bit on heat that you get. Give us some other examples. And I hit on car wash like that. It's such an interesting thing when we don't wash somebody's car.
It is. And look, I think that's one of our, the great things we do, right? You can put that in our amenity section here. And the truth be told is, large majority of people are not going to pop their hood, right? So they're extremely trusting of what we're doing. And truth be told is people don't know necessarily if you have not changed their oil, because they're not popping their hood, they're not looking at the dipstick, they're not looking at those things. But we wash every car that we service, and it's such a big visual. If we don't wash a car, I mean, it instant. It just stands out at you where you're looking at this car and you're like, oh, they didn't wash my car. And right, yeah. And your mind goes to this dark kind of place where if they didn't wash my car, what else didn't they do? Right.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly.
And we see it. And then we see this, I'm not sure that you changed my oil. And
because you didn't wash my car.
Because you didn't wash my car, which is true. It's actually, the car wash is one of the biggest concerns that we'll get with somebody, with the guest, right? Is you didn't wash it, or it wasn't dry enough, or sometimes, right? And unfortunately we can't, vacuum and detail every car that we process through here. But you try. I mean, if you deliver a wet car that's dripping water, then, we get comments about that.
Imagine trying to wash 360 cars.
Yeah, the wash rack, they're just cranking
I
it.
feel like the wash, or the wash
We,
team.
we got to give them a come
Yeah,
on,
we
wash rack. You
definitely
guys are
gotta give them a
amazing. We
kudos,
love you
yeah.
guys.
They do a great job.
But
Keep
I
it
feel
going.
like that mentality of like, oh, I'm going to, get my car service and then get it washed. And then when you come back and you don't see it washed, it's kind of like going to McDonald's and wanting an ice cream cone and then them telling you, hey, the machine is down. And you're like, really?
Really?
Like, wow. The one time,
Yeah. Paul, your thoughts on some of the things that we do to help protect the guest? If you just had to sort of start talking about what is it that your department does? Somebody comes through the service lane, they drop their car off with us. How are they being protected as compared to going to an independent shop or having their uncle do it in the garage?
Yeah, I think transparency is probably the biggest one that, I could have with that, because you do hear these horror stories out there. And by all means, I always say that we're not a perfect place, but we're a great place. And we try really hard to make sure we nail this the first time. And if we ever make a mistake, then we're going to make it right, because we stand by our reputation and we've been doing this a really long time, right? So we'll get you handled. I think for us, again, it's transparency though. So when we look at this, it's, we use Techion here, which is our management software for our dealership. And it's a state-of-the-art system. I mean, we're able to communicate with you. So we keep everything on record. And then we'll send you a text message link, and that will show your multi-point inspection. You can access it. We have our technicians that will take, photos and videos. We'll send those photos and videos to you for transparency. So it's, I think the day is always, and there's this misconception here of, oh, they told me I needed this air filter, but they didn't show it to me. It leaves a bad feeling. So let's show it to you. Our technicians will take pictures. We'll send it. It's transparent. You can see you need it. We'll always show you, your vehicle if you want. And in addition to that, I think just following scheduled maintenance from Toyota Motor Sales is very important. There's some cases that we'll see cars that come from outside facilities, and frankly, they're overcharging maybe, or they're doing things too soon that isn't necessarily needed. Yeah, and there is a such thing as over maintenance. We talked about this, which is oil change and oil change intervals, right? Yeah. Is now the very large majority of cars is 10,000 miles on a synthetic oil, 10,000 miles. And you get some people still coming in that want to do it at 5,000. And if that's really what you're insistent on, we'll do it, but we're going to let you know. And my message always is, hey, Toyota Motor Sales warranties your engine. And whether you change your oil every 5,000 or 10,000, they're going to warranty your engine just the same. So I don't suggest it. You should just follow the scheduled maintenance, and that will keep your car, running great, your Toyota running like new, and it'll ultimately save you a bunch of money in the long run.
Yeah, why add to it, But I get it, because some of us, we're fanatical about whatever the car might be, and I would fall in that category. Like if I had a Supra, I'd probably change the oil a little bit quicker, just because of paranoia or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, it won't hurt the car, but you're just not really saving money.
Yeah, exactly. The first ones are free, though, so we're good with that. You mentioned the National History Database. Why is that important for our guests to know about that? Like, talk to me about how globally important is this database?
Well, so it's a network where all Toyota dealers could communicate.
All
right?
of them.
And
all of them.
Universal. So we could see universal service history. So if you were at this dealership here, shared with us, we'll know, right? But I think a bigger point to that is you then have visibility to your service records. A lot of times, guests are selling a car. You mentioned Carfax.
Oh, yeah.
It's very important to guests. People run Carfaxes all the time now, so they're looking at that Carfax and they're saying, hey, this car has been serviced, or it's clean, or you know what? Let me request my service history for maybe tax purposes. It's a business car. I didn't save something end of the year. So we get a lot of those things with the service history, and we got records that are retained. So we could always help you with that.
I think my favorite feature on our software is going to be the online payment. I really like that. I don't know why. Like, I just hate going in.
Because
and
you're the young one in the group. Of course
I
you love
hate
it.
having to be like, hi, I'm here for my car. Here, take my money. Or versus like, hey, your car's done. It's ready for pickup. You could pay online. I pay it. I come here and let them know I already paid online. They're like, okay, cool. Let me just, bring the car up for you.
But it's better than paying online because we get a text.
Yeah, you get a text and then you get a payment link.
You got to pay. You got a text. You got to pay. This has got to be so helpful for you guys because the text comes. I open the link. It says approve this, and then I put my credit card number in, and poof.
It's great, and this is such a pain point for me because not enough people utilize it, right?
What?
Which is wild to me. So
Mel.
Because there's Apple Pay on there. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, you got this system where you could sign your invoice.
Yeah.
It's emailed to you. You got access from your text message to it. You mentioned Apple Pay, and then you could even schedule the pickup. So there's no need to go to the cashier. You could save time, and we'll pull the car up. I mean, you could literally say, "I want to pick my car up at 5:30 today," and you could request a 5:30 pickup, and that's what we'll do.
And I think for a lot of people, it's also that they don't want to deal with having to interact with someone else when they're basically done with their service already. So they're like, oh, I already talked to somebody, dropped my car off. Like, why do I have to go back in, explain the whole thing and then wait for them versus doing all that online, basically.
We're learning a lot about you today, Mel.
I mean, I love talking to you guys, but I'm just kidding.
You needed to preface that with it. I have a friend that doesn't want to deal with people.
What that one saying where it's like, I'm just asking for a friend.
just asking for a friend.
In reality, you're asking for yourself.
I'm going to turn it up a little bit because we're going to be wrapping up in a second. So here's the itching, burning question that a lot of folks are going to have, okay, is when I go to service, I'm nervous and I'm apprehensive that you're going to ask me to do something or buy something that I don't need. That is the fear. That is, and that's why this topic is controversial because there's so many moving parts. There's so much happening. But the controversy comes to if I go to the dealer, they're going to charge me too much or they're going to tell me to do something that I don't necessarily do. So 21 years with us, 360 cars a day. Like, what is your advice to the folks that are listening on how do you mitigate that and what governs us that keeps us from doing that? Because we really don't do that.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned price. I think this thing is, there's two answers here, two sides to it. One is pricing. You always get this, oh, you're too expensive. So that's not the truth with competitive maintenance, items, your oil changes, your services, your maintenance. We literally price shop this. So we do comparisons. We call it Dare to Compare, and we'll call some of the the oil change facilities that are out there.
Yeah.
And we're cheaper than them on oil changes. We're cheaper than places on your routine factory maintenance. And if we're not cheaper on maybe an air filter, we're very close. We're the same. We're within a reasonable amount that you would then justify everything,
And the shock there is that most people are not going to believe you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we know it
Yeah.
for a fact because
Yeah.
we're making the Dare to Compare phone calls, and we working in the industry are constantly getting mailers, and we're like, we do it for less than that, right?
Oh yeah. $140 for a synthetic oil change at some of these quick places. You're looking at that, and we get a $90 coupon that's out there for it, and sometimes it's a little mind blowing.
Yeah.
So I think that's one.
Yeah.
And then probably the other side to it, how do we know that you're not going to get taken advantage of? It's really transparency. I mean, you could watch your car being worked on. So you could see it. And then you got that technology part of it, where you're looking and we could show you the photos, we could show you videos, you could picture, you could request to walk back and see your car. I mean, we'll show you your car.
And it goes back to some of the stuff that Doug shared in the previous podcast, but really the culture here at Longo Toyota and Penske Motor Group is that the transparency, we're looking for guests that become lifetime family members to us, right? That we're going to make them part of the family. And they're going to not only service a car here, but replace their car with the next one, hand the car down to their daughter or their son, whatever the case might be. And we want to give that excellent level of service. And so to that end, it makes more sense to always be transparent, to always provide great service, to always, as long as the washing machine isn't broken, the car wash, always wash the car and make it look
That's
excellent.
rare, Mike.
It's rare, but we have to mention it because sometimes, and here's the thing, we have a backup plan. When that happens, we have a note card that says our wash is down and we're going to give you a free coffee, or you can come back at a different day and get the car washed on us.
Yeah.
And so we know how important it is, but we go through all of those iterations to make sure that we stay on top of it and do it the right way. That's really important because folks really, they get pretty stressed. I get pretty, again, and I started the podcast talking about how I scold people, and I really scold them. Like you should only go to your factory trained technicians at the Toyota dealership or Ford, wherever it is that you got your car, because they know the car better than anybody else. I just can't stress it enough. And you want the transcript of the records. You wouldn't go to college under a fake name. You just wouldn't. Like, what's the point?
Your cars are the transcript.
Yeah, that transcript is all the services, right? And it's funny to me because I'll see automotive enthusiasts that will say, oh, I found this vintage Lexus LS 400 and it had all the services done at the dealership. And this is the same guy that posts on Facebook or Instagram, like, I would never get my car serviced at the dealership. Oh, but if you find a vintage one that was serviced at all the stores, you bought that one in a millisecond. Like, there's just
with the original window sticker.
Yeah,
that's like a bonus.
I know. And so anyways, that was one of it. Biggest tip. We're gonna wrap things up. Give us that number one message, tip, golden rule for our listeners when it comes to bringing your car in for service.
I think you should always be aware of just what's in the scheduled maintenance guide. So Toyota puts that out there for you. You can even get it online. So if this car has 30,000, you could have a real good idea of what your car is going to need. So I think scheduled factory maintenance is always, huge for me. You should follow a preventative maintenance schedule. Toyotas are great. They're not perfect. Why they give you a warranty, but they're great. And the number one reason that we'll ever see, an engine failure, which is rare, is just a lack of maintenance. So if you follow the guide, you'll end up saving money. And then, I'd add another one to it for us, which is just really, if you bring the car here, since we have access to that TIS, the Technical Information System, and service lane, which I didn't touch on this, a lot of times there's warranty coverage that's additional or added on. So you'll get customer support programs or maybe even a technical service bulletin where somebody could come in at 100,000 miles, their check engine light's on, and we'll find out that that's covered under California emissions. So it's great. And, probably our last one's just reputation. I mean, we've been doing this a long time, number one for 58 years. We're going to do it the right way.
And the best part about it is that both Toyota and Toyota Financial Services do a remarkable job of paying on those claims and taking care of everything on the car. So why you wouldn't do that is beyond me. Why you wouldn't my hot tip is why you wouldn't take advantage of the first 5 services that are free is beyond me. And why you wouldn't look at the fact that you have a $50,000, $60,000 unit car that has 20,000 or more moving parts and electronic parts in it, why you wouldn't protect that with just a little bit of extra love. That would be my tip to the end user.
But for the future, though,
yes,
now everyone knows. Everyone knows all the benefits and the confidence that you can get from servicing or getting anything done at the dealership, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So transcripts are important, as we've talked about. 3rd-degree black belts, those are also very, very important, very, very super duper important. And don't forget that we are going to take care of you. We're going to have Wi-Fi, a clean facility for you. Starbucks, baby, and we're going to do that. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. Longo Drives Tread Talks. This has been Mike, Mel, with a very special guest, Paul LeBlanc. And any questions or comments, please put them down below. Thank you for joining us.